question. It looks like that will not be the answer. But Galio for B1, also kind of wacky.
Interesting. I mean, Silas is still up in the table, so Strive, I mean, you've been saying these two mid laners in this specific game love the Silas, so that's definitely something that they should consider. Definitely don't want to be giving RA too many good ultimates when that is up and available, but Leyan hovering this Leeson, which is also climbing back into the meta as Elise has been taken off, although Malphite is still available. I think Leyan on a comfort champion is definitely going to give RA a slight bit of edge, as a lot of ADCs are also on the table, where Varus, we have on with 11 Varus games so far, so we're probably going to look at that soon.
It's going to be the LeBlanc locked in for Strive, wanting some early presence. And I mean, Lee Sin LeBlanc is a hell of a 2v2 to find some early presence with. And I feel like the Fiora hover before, it was a reference to the fact that Fiora was banned away from IG in the previous game, and maybe we could see it. Maybe.
Don't do it to him, IG.
Oh no. Oh no. Imagine locking in 2 movement champions and then Poppy happens.
I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I think IG just pulled out their trump card and called RA's bluff with Lee Sin and LeBlanc. These two champions are not going to have a fun time in this game. IG just having really good draws. I mean, Galio blind is a little bit questionable, but when you are saving a lot of those picks for counters, Poppy is the perfect response.
And then a Camille blind for YSKM as well, basically saying, look, we know you want to play a tank up top. I'm going to play a tank killer. What have you got? And Cube answers in kind with a Gwen. And I will say, when Gwen first came out, Cube was one of the first players to pick it up in the LPL, and he looked damn good on the pick.
Yeah, so this time the Gwen is going to be in Cube's hands. And it definitely is going to be a spicy matchup in that top lane. But we need to start talking about ADCs and supports, because a lot of ADCs are still available. I'm assuming Varus and the Zeri will get taken off here, or something like the Ashe, where it is able to be flexed, as Wink is a big fan of those ADC supports in the bottom lane. But we need to talk a little bit more about Southwind, because I think in the previous game, on that Nautilus in particular, we didn't see too much. So hopefully he can redeem himself with a champion that isn't going to be as punishing like the Nautilus.
Yeah, we'll see what he's going to go with. Especially with such an aggressive, top side in general. I'm curious if they just go with something defensive in the bottom side, or if they try and do what IG did to them, where you just win every single lane. Zeri banned away, Lucian banned away, Xayah banned away, all AD carries in this second phase. Draven could still be on the cards in either direction.
Yeah, I guess RA is pretty happy with letting the Varus open, as you do have so much mobility. So if the Poppy is going around, you can potentially look for those picks onto if he does decide to lock in the Varus. But we do have the Draven available, where he loves his matchup into Varus, as it is a hard winning one for him, where Southwind could consider something like the Nautilus or even Rakan. I do want to see Rakan. I think that champion's very fun to watch.
It would be something special to see the Rakan come on through, but without the Xayah, we'll have to see. Varus comes in though, for Sssum. This would be something though, if we got the Kaisa locked in. We've seen Varus versus Kaisa previously. Can be very tough for Kaisa in the earlier stages of the game, but later on, once you've got that ultimate, Varus does not have a fun time of it. But perhaps a slower, steadier pace of game from IG.
This Ziggs pick is lovely. I mean, just have so much CC lockdown from the side of IG. A lot of globals as well, where this Kaisa gets locked in, Munch.
The Kaisa comes on through. The Nautilus available, which is the perfect pairing for a Kaisa as well. It's looking kind of nice, honestly, for the side of IG. I feel like if you go for Nautilus, you've got your engage options, you've got your damage from the Camille and from the Kaisa. Dove can just play for those side lanes. Gideon denying everything that the mid jungle wants to do from RA. I kind of like the composition. I'm not so sure on the Heimerdinger myself. Does mean you lack a bit of engage here, but with a flank, it's still possible.
a lot of good follow-up from the Heimerdinger specifically for these team fights, but on looking in the Kaisa, definitely having a little bit of fun or some morale boost from the previous game of how that game one went. But the karma is going to get considered by RA here, where it is a pretty good response to the Heimerdinger, and you're gonna just try and look for that lane priority. But it really depends on both jungle pathings, as you have a lot of options to play towards. I mean, you have the Kaisa and Camille on both sides of the map. On the other side, we have RA with Gwen and Varus. There's going to be a lot of lane priority. So Leyan on this Lee Sin, I mean, with the amount of mobility paired up with the LeBlanc, they are going to be going for those skirmishes.
They certainly are, and I feel like Gideon has his work cut out, because we're talking about this Poppy as a counter for the Lee Sin for the LeBlanc. But if Gideon doesn't play it well, this is a draft that could really take over a game. Like, the top 3 picks for RA, absolutely dominant. You've got a bottom lane that will guarantee priority and push, and perhaps early dragons for the side of RA. I feel like IG will need to have a clear game plan going in if they want to take this game too.
The top
on the Gwen.
My eyes are all up in this top lane 1v1 matchup, as the Gwen is going to get that lane priority early on in the game, but we need to remember that YSKM on something like the Camille, he's more than happy to scale into the late game and start putting side pressure in those lanes. Tower's already being set up by Wink though.
Yeah, Tower's being set up, and RA, now like most teams you see go for the 5-man play towards the bottom lane to deny the Heimerdinger turrets. Not happening for RA. Not going to be moving in. Okay, perhaps now the late invade. Sssum and Southwind are going to be spotted here. Strive alongside them. Wink drops another turret. Trying to buy time and space for his other turrets who are hiding away in the bushes. But there we go. Sssum and Southwind will be able to clear them. A little bit of damage taken just before the laning phase, but not the end of the world.
But Munch, we have double comment for the side of RA. 2 poke champions. I'm assuming Sssum is also gonna go the lethality build for this game, but
yeah,
it's gonna be so tough as the Varus, because you just have so much hard engage from IG. I mean, pretty much everyone can jump onto your face except for the Heimerdinger, so it's gonna really require him to have perfect positioning. But if he's able to get the poke down, looking pretty good for the assassins of RA to finish them off.
It does feel a little bit like RA need to do to IG what IG did to them in game number 1, right? Where you need to dominate in the laning phases. You need to use this Varus Karma poke to really dominate on, not let him get gold, not let him get into the game at all. You need to find pressure with the LeBlanc and Lee Sin in the early game and start this snowball quickly, because, like you say, it can be very tough in the team fights against this Poppy with a composition that has so much movement, and like you say, the amount of dive that can jump onto the Varus could become very tough if they don't find themselves with the lead.
Something really interesting in this mid lane matchup is that Strive has decided to start the call with First Strike, where he's just generating so much gold. Still gets burned by On.
Certainly does. Bit of a trade back and forth. Wink and Southwind both healing. But damage coming out from Arn so far. Ansem basically out of mana at this point, and I assume he does have that mana flow ban to stack that one up. I assume he'll go for a tier in a bit. Gideon spot on a ward. As IG just desperately trying to shove this wave in if they can. They would love to get a cheeky early reset, but I don't think that they're going to be able to do it fast enough.
Wink doesn't have any pots left, and the heal is also on cooldown, where this bottom lane is looking very vulnerable already if Lee Sin decides to part that way. Missing in the 2v2 as they push in the midway for RA, as Scuttles are spawning very soon. This LeBlanc being freed up from the wave, I mean, she's just gonna dominate this fight with Lee Sin.
Yeah, there should be no world where Gideon can contest this, and Steadfast Presence used the shield is there. Great little combo from Gideon, and walks away with his life. On drops a thumbs up. He knows he's safe.
But the wave state for IG's bottom lane is looking very hard to fix, as it is slightly pushed in for RA. But does Leyan just straight up steal the blue buff here?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that Gideon can do about it. Cube moves over after crashing a massive wave. You got priority in the mid lane from Strive as well. And Leyan happy to use and abuse that fact. So getting himself a nice little lead to start this matchup off. And this is what we wanted, right? Proactivity from RA. Massive CS lead in that bottom lane. You've got Cube winning priority in the top side. You've got Strive forcing priority in the mid lane. Everything looking pretty good right now. But IG want to make a counter play. YSKM starting onto Cube as Gideon moves into the play as well. Cube kind of hard to lock down though. There's no CC here for IG, and Cube just walks away.
Yeah, I think unless they land the CC onto Gwen or Gideon gets to start the play, this Gwen is gonna walk away scratch-free. But Leyan's also slightly hovering as his wave is slowly pushing in for IG. So YSKM needs to be very careful.
Yeah, will have his hook shot to pull himself to safety should Leyan get onto the play. Camille, one of those champions that is incredibly difficult to gank even when the lane is in a position like this. But he's low on HP. The Sonic Wave lands. It's still very possible. Leyan being so patient here, but YSKM giving a lot of respect to play that could be happening right here. I don't want to keep bringing it up too much, but you know, maybe the coaching from Sssum paying off as Leyan
walked into him.
Gets on in, but it will just spot out Leyan. He can't go for the 1v1, and YSKM will be safe.
So now YSKM needs to get some bailout in this top lane. Look at the wave state. YSKM does top lane back.
He's buying time.
Cool.
He's buying time because there's a dive at the bottom side. Gideon under the tower. Sssum alone now as Wink walks on forwards on the one to do the damage. Walks away and will survive. Beautifully done as YSKM wasted so much of Leyan's time.
YSKM just smelled Leyan sitting in that bush. He knew the Lee Sin was there, and IG received the information and they proceed to dive the bottom lane of RA. I mean, we've been saying about the Varus having no mobility. If you just straight up dive it when the waves are built up, pretty hard to outplay it as no summoners were burnt from the bottom lane of RA, so it's just looking very dim. But Leyan maybe can catch something here. Someone's... Oh! Southwind! What are you doing, little bro?
Southwind just flashes over the wall. He thought maybe the recall was happening there. Oh, it's a huge blunder from Southwind. It's not ideal. Let's take another look at the dive.
I mean, Southwind saved Flash here, but it was just a really good engage from Gideon to start everything off. And without your support, he only has a cleanse left. Not going to do too much as IG takes the tower perfectly. But, I mean, I guess in the end, you get 2 kills and a Flash because Southwind didn't do anything with it.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that Southwind just got perma-CC'd until he was dead the first time, comes back out of the play and was like, you know what, maybe I will burn the Flash after all. Just jumps into the river. Win, though, has just walked into the top lane and almost gives the kill over to Cube. I mean, YSKM wondering what on earth his support is doing, but at least he'll help him crash the wave.
Gideon is here to protect Arn from this dive, however, so it's going to be pretty hard to pull off as the Lee Sin. Wink was in top lane to try and bail out YSKM's wave state as it was just permanently frozen up against a Gwen, where very vulnerable to ganks as well. However, Leyan does get spotted on this control ward in the bottom side, so it's going to get a little less pressure in that top lane. But like I've been saying, this Camille vs Gwen matchup already down around 30 CS due to the freeze. I mean, YSKM not having the most fun in game 2.
No, tough one for him, but ultimately, he doesn't need to be dominating the laning phase, right? Went for the blind pick Camille here, so inevitably going to struggle against the counter pick, but doing a good job to just buy time, doing a good job to obviously like waste Leyan's time early on, set up for the dive for IG, and this slow pace feels like what IG want. I keep my eyes on Dove because he's level 6 at this, well, he's level 7 at this point. He has the ability to start influencing these other lanes.
We already see Arn having a very big struggle in that bottom lane, just trying to get any health. Sssum already burnt the ultimate, trying to just force Kaisa out of lane, and she is very short in terms of range and trading. But this top wave, I mean, it's just gonna slowly build into Cube's favor once again. Leyan can potentially look for something as Cube is still slightly stronger than the Camille in an isolated matchup.
Yeah, Gideon just going to start Herald though, so it feels like if Leyan wants to try and make a play towards that top side, Gideon will be in the area. And if Leyan doesn't make a play, then Gideon will just take the Rift Herald. Dove in range of just ulting into the play as well. Leyan level 6 to Gideon's 5. And that might just be enough to force IG away from the Herald. So good response from RA here. They've moved Southwind up as well. So numbers advantage for RA. You see Wink moving over, but he'll still be a little while until he gets here.
It's going to be a straight up 4v4 for the side of IG. They are committing to the Herald, however. So Looking a little bit tough to find an angle back onto Herald. Dragon is going to be spawning in 2 minutes, so there's not going to be a trade going on as the first one went towards RA.
Yeah.
I'm pretty surprised because Southwind rotated first, but wave safe for top. Ooh!
On ults in, but he misses his W and flashes back forwards. One more Q will finish the job, but he doesn't have anything in the tank. But Wink is here. Sssum, no way out of this one. But no threat comes out from On. He doesn't try and cut off the flank. It doesn't matter. Wink is there, throws a spanner in the works.
Look, both supports rotated towards this Herald play, but Kaisa probably one of the best ADCs to duel another immobile ADC. Something gonna get stunned here. Half HP.
Not bad. Not bad. Bit of damage from a support right there. Half of the health. Strive threatening in the mid lane, but double be okay. Gideon there. Oh, he's gonna back away.
Yeah, I mean, Cube just controlling this wave state once again. YSKM just has to lose his minions in front of his face. Already down 40. Ari is trying to struggle and look for a play on this bottom side. We just see an isolated matchup up against a Kaisa where, although An misplayed it at the very beginning, it is just Kaisa up against Varus missing the W. And from straight up autos up against something with the serrated Dirk and Comet, you're gonna straight up win as the Heimerdinger and Galio rotated first.
And then the grenade lands and a singular wrench will finish the job. You love to see it for a Wink there. 1-0-2 so far. The Heimerdinger almost went down on the play in the top lane earlier on, but at the end of the day, it's making it happen, and that's what counts. So 3-0. Yeah, dove up to the top side. I think it will just be shoving this wave in. YSKM having a really hard time up in this top lane for the time being. Like you said before, so much CS down. There's a CS advantage in all 3 lanes for RA, kind of turning the script around from the previous game. But IG doing a much better job in the early game than what RA did of keeping the gold in touching distance by making plays on the map.
Yeah, but although the scoreline is currently 3-0, RA is just picking up so many tower plays from mid and bottom. Ultimate's gonna land onto An. Half HP from 1Q.
Not bad, not bad. I'm assuming that was the WQ to be able to do that much damage this early on. The straight Dirk though in pocket. There's a flash forwards from Gideon and uncharged in. Look at the combo from IG. Annihilating Leyan and RA. Not a hope of contesting this. Perhaps Sssum could go for the steal, but I'm assuming his W is on cooldown, which is how Varus really contests these objectives. Take it away. Gideon with the smite to grab that Draken in the meantime. Arn crashes a huge wave, it'll get plates as well.
Yeah, IG just straight up telling Leyan, this comp was built for you, buddy. Straight up destroys him in that team fight. Didn't get to move a single pixel with the amount of follow-up from IG. I mean, Dove finally making a play on the side as well with that Galio ult available. The Herald also gets dropped as An gets extra gold into his pockets, as they also deny the second dragon into his pockets as well. I mean, although LeBlanc is up 1 play and 20 CS, I mean, Galio is just providing so much more in these team fights so far.
Oh yeah, I mean, the combo is gorgeous. Like, Gideon flashes in, the rest of the gang is there instantly.
You just blink and 5 people fly into your face as Leyan gets instantly CC'd. I mean, even Southwind, like, he barely gets away with that flash. But without your jungler, you can't contest the dragon no more, so the play died.
Yeah, Cube managing to get the wave in another frozen position here. I will say Cube is playing this top lane exceptionally well, but this feels like one of those solo queue games, right? Where, you know, your lane's going great. You got yourself a 40 CS lead, but the rest of the gang, they're starting to fall apart just a little bit here. Gideon tries to steal away the blue buff. Leyan will smite it. Perhaps a Gromp can be the reward. Sssum and Southwind underneath their tower here could be in danger of a dive.
We have so much priority from the side of IG as they plant their vision down into a jungle of RA, but this Lee Sin pick is already getting a little bit more behind as the Poppy picks up her Sunfire at 13 minutes in the game, so she's going to be extremely tanky. I mean, there is a viable angle where, although Lee Sin gets CC to death, he is able to kick away the front line of IG. Let's say if YSKM does lock down LeBlanc, an example. He just kicks him away, and the ultimate dies.
Yeah. If they can find the combo.
Bodyguard Leyan.
Yeah, exactly. Just being bouncer, just denying entry to the play. But it's a question of if they'll be able to make it happen. I feel like RA, like, in a vacuum, if you remove IG's composition from the conversation, they actually want to be diving themselves, right? You, like, as Lethality Varus, you work very well with dive compositions because you're essentially like a super long-range assassin. But against the Poppy, whether or not you're actually going to be the ones doing the diving is a whole different question, because the reposition from on, and outside of that, who are you diving on? Wing? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, we are taking a look at Aria's composition as Herald is scoring in 20 seconds. Very depressing things to see as a LeBlanc player, but
Speaking of bodyguard junglers.
There's a win con for Aria as we see Cube generating that lead from purely just laning. As Leyan and Strive, with the amount of mobility they have, they can lean towards that side lane and accentuate the lead that he's already created from Cube instead of playing towards these mid lane 4v4s, because you're not going to win up against the Poppy and Galio.
No, Herald didn't start it off here, but YSKM in the meantime is just going to take a tower on the bottom side of the map. And IG basically saying, look, we're happy for you guys to get the Herald. We're going to trade it elsewhere on the map. Pressuring towards the mid lane. Strive and Sssum will be here to answer. And the bot lane tier 1 taken. But Leyan, using that Herald, should be able to answer in kind with Cube pushing the wave in on the top side.
Major objectives is fairly even as double TP for this top lane.
Wow.
Is going to kill the play.
They are really committing to this one, but a TP to answer. YSKM could be in big trouble here because he's already used his hook shot, but a triple knock-up from Leyan. Dives into the back line and makes the play happen. But Dove's still going for this one as Gideon enters the play, jumps into the mix of everyone. Cube the target, and Arn arriving to clean up the kills. Could still be huge, but RA surviving a long time here. Health bars will not go down. Sssum, can he find his mark? Arn dodges, Dove survives. Wink body blocking. And it's a 1-for-1 after all of that.
It is a 1-for-1, but they do save the top lane tier 1 tower from falling, and that's exactly what IG wanted. Committing the double TP. I didn't expect them to be the aggressors of the team fight, as Ari did have numbers advantage, but in the end it still worked out for them. Although Arn had to burn that flash, I mean, he was still able to pick up a kill as the scoreline is 5-1. But double TP from IG just stops the Herald from killing the tower completely, but we also see a response TP from the mid laner of RA as the Galio just lands a really nice ultimate here, where Leyan does get this kill into YSKM, but the follow-up from IG is coming in. As if you see in the bottom corner that IG has complete control of that dragon, and Arn had to flash in, sorry for this replay, to get into range of that kill, but in the end a 1-for-1.
Yeah. Dragon started by RA as IG move onto the scene as well. YSK up in the top lane though, so you expect IG to back away from this one, just trying to apply as much pressure as they can, delay if they can. The Leyan should be able to finish this Drake off. Unless Gideon wants to make some kind of blast game play, but no, backs away in the end. Oh, just millimeters away from stealing that one, but Leyan gets the smite in the end. But again, IG doing a good job of just trading across the map. I believe YSKM should be able to finish this tower off.
Yeah, a little bit of a breather for RA, but this Camille vs Gwen matchup is going to get slowly better for YSKM as Gideon.
Oh no, there's no way back out, Strive. I say that, jumps back to his distortion. There is a way out after all. We'll be able to keep himself alive.
He's lurking, he's cooking something.
He's moving his way over. Laying there on the chickens. Cube gets the other tier 1 on the opposite side of the map. I feel like YSKM and Cube at this point have a gentleman's agreement to just completely ignore each other and play opposite sides of the map.
Most definitely, but YSKM, we already see how much he is catching up in XP from not going up against the Gwen, so in the end, it's still more favored towards IG's top laner, as he is picking up his items slowly, and in the very late game stage, the Camille is going to get that slight edge. Leyan isn't going to be able to do too much to a Camille as the Q misses, but
he could have just
IG is going to be really happy. He could have just kept recalling, right?
Yeah, Leyan going slightly wide on the Q there. I don't think he was really looking for an all-in anyway, just to cancel the recall, so he'll be fine with that one. 5-1 on the scoreboard, 2,000 gold lead, a much closer game than what we saw in game number 1 here, especially with RA having the 2 Drakes for themselves. Wink low on HP, but will survive. And we're starting to get to the point as well where Sssum is going to start hitting like a truck. Has the Ghost Blade, close to finishing off his Mana Moon as well. And at that point, and once you upgrade that second serrated Dirk, this lethality Varus will start to annihilate Wink on these guys that already have quite a small health pool to work with.
Yeah, we already see IG's bottom lane being poked out from the mid lane poke, specifically from Sssum, but I was just looking at Delta HP. He has their welcome at 6 stacks and also some Merc treads, but why is he just looking so tanky for a Galio? I mean, he is thick with the double C.
Oh yeah, big time. He's been going to the gym recently, let's just say that.
He's bulky.
He's got a stopwatch as well, so worst case scenario, he's always got that panic button available to him. Dove looking hard to deal with, and like, you know, with the magic shields that can come on through, it makes Strive's life real difficult. And when it comes to finding those assassinations, everyone grouping up as if Dragon's coming up. It ain't up for another 2.5 minutes, but just fine for vision control in the bottom river.
Most definitely. I mean, I'm just looking at the mid jungle of IG, and they are so incredibly tanky. I don't think this lethality Varus is going to do too much, so he has to focus down the bottom lane of IG, but we see Gideon consistently hovering over YSKM as he smells action.
I thought Wing was in trouble there, but the Sonic Wave slightly shy. Dove moving over. We could just have a 5v5 for the sake of having a 5v5 here. Chain of Corruption goes wide. Leyan, Sonic Wave onto Dove, but backs away as Gideon arrives on the scene. Leyan has to be very cautious with his engages. He needs to find his moment, because if Gideon is there to block him, it will ruin everything. Strive looking for a bit of damage. Instantly traded back by Gideon, who blocks any follow-up engages. Cube in a bounce house right now. Can't move. Turns golden just to keep himself alive. As YSKM jumps onto the backline. 2v1 here. Buying so much space and time for the squad to finish off Cube. Now the arrow flashed away from. And IG get away with murder.
IG ended up being a 1-for-0 trade where only Cube fell, but does seem like RA has the party in this mid lane and a lot of health as well, so they are going to try and look to get this tier 1 tower. YSKM coming into these team fights like an absolute monster, half healthing the ADC.
Oh, the stun lands! Oh, Leyan's down! The Gale Force comes out from on, and IG turn just a neutral 5v5 in River for literally no reason into 2 kills and find themselves yet another advantage.
Yeah, we do see the fight getting engaged from Gideon getting this pin onto the LeBlanc. However, this Gwen pick coming into Poppy and Galio, you are just getting bounced everywhere. Even burning the stopwatch as well, but YSKM, I mean, he's just a Camille up against the Varus, where he half HPs and zones off the rest of RA as they weren't able to follow up. I think in this current position, RA was pretty happy because everyone else was very low, but of course, Leyan did die as a response, and they regain map control in this bottom side.
And I feel like YSKM in team fights is doing such a good job in this series of finding advantages when no one is looking at him. We saw it in the final fight of the previous game. Now we see it in game number 2 as well. Buying so much space for his team, but also threatening the backline. Massively weak, flashing out to safety, keep himself alive.
Oh, Gideon.
Gideon low on HP, but will walk away with his life. YSKM moving over, but it's a good fight so far for RA, because they've still got their Varus. They can keep poking all day long.
They are just playing into the choke at that Dragon Pit, however. RA is going to regain that control as they enter in because of the previous poke from Sssum. YSKM looking for a really nasty flank onto the Varus. Does have flash available.
Gideon sticking around here on basically no HP, but Cube is gone. It's 4v5. In goes Gideon, kicked back out of the play, but Leyan in trouble, taken down. And Southwind next on the jumping block, dodges the W, but Wink in trouble on the backside of the play as Cube and Strive, the solo lanes, make it happen. It's a 2-for-1 with IG only having the only jungler remaining.
On 5-0 on this, Kaisa picks up a double as well. However, RA was able to pick up the stragglers, which was Wink in this instance and at least gets one into their pockets. But Leyan having a tough time on this Lee Sin. We've been saying this, I mean, the Gwen did get bopped away by Poppy earlier on, so it did force a 4v5, which was extremely well played by Gideon, and then he forces onto Leyan and gets that jungler dead as well. Gideon just won 1 HP, still goes for the play, so a lot of Giga Chat energy as he also gets the cage onto Leyan as well, so he wasn't able to just dash away onto his friends and teammates. But, you know, 2-for-1 trade, but the entire fight is still going in IG's favor.
Yeah, and IG get that Drake off of the tempo resets as well. I feel like Wink basically just feeling the brunt of being the only one on the team that doesn't have a dash. It gets caught out behind. Everyone charges on in. 5v5 once again. Baron up on the cards here, but both Dove and On half HP, chunked out. Maybe have to recall.
You just have to play away from the Poppy. I don't see how the Lee Sin and LeBlanc is going to be able to handle a bodyguard Gideon. I mean, even for Wink. YSKM?
YSKM just dives onto Sssum, dives under the tower and makes the play happen anyway. Now Cube trying to get onto the backside, taunted up, On goes down. Cube absolutely huge in this one on 3 people. They're all low on HP and they just have to flee.
A 1-for-1 trade between the ADCs, but YSKM just committing murder in broad daylight as Sssum falls at his tier 1 tower. This is a really fair game, guys, for the ADC. I mean, both of them seem like they're having a lot of fun as Cube also gets the response kill onto Arn. However, Arn is sitting comfortably on his 3rd item. Unfortunate that he didn't have a way of getting out as Gwen was just able to get her hands onto the Kaisa, but YSKM engaging the entire fight just gets the combo onto Sssum, even having the Galio as a follow-up. But no one was really looking at On as he had to burn the flash earlier, and then Cube realized this, picking up the 900 gold bounty as well. So that's going to be really good for RA, as this Gwen is going to just be a tiny bit stronger with those item spikes.
Yeah, I was going to say Cube saying to YSKM, anything you can do, I can do better, right? Picking up the AD carry, but actually, looking at the replay, that was kind of just a huge misplay from Arn. Like, you did not need to flash towards the Gwen. You could have gone upwards towards your teammate in River there. Perhaps a little over-aggressive from Arn. Needs to stick with the rest of the squad in this one, especially since he's got 5 kills. He's got so much of the team's gold. Gideon on the top side of the play.
On. Sssum on the run.
Okay, the stun doesn't quite land. If that stun lands onto Sssum, oh, it doesn't matter because he's on to make the play. Smite from Gideon on top of everything else. What a pick from IG.
0-4 and 0 on Sssum. Now they are going to start up this Baron as they have the Heimerdinger and 3-item Kaisa. It's going to die extremely fast, Munch.
Yeah, I mean, there's no contest, right? Leyan gonna try and get in for a steal, perhaps, but look at the bouncers blocking entry right now. Dove and YSKM saying, look, you're too drunk, mate. You've got to go somewhere else tonight. Cube on the front line as Leyan just gets aggressive by YSKM. He's down as well. Strive pinned against the wall. Flushes out to safety as YSKM once more, and he'll find it. What a play from the top laner of IG. And Dove keeping everybody away. Baron taken. Bonus kills on top of it. A taunt onto Cube. A knock-up onto Cube. A stun onto Cube. Southwind aggressed upon as YSKM turns golden. And RA sent packing in this game.
14 and 3, 2 towers, and also Baron in the hands of IG. This game exploded after the first dragon fight as Arn is just looking insane on this Kaisa. I mean, engages the whole thing by himself. Although not having too much follow-up from the side of IG, he doesn't care. He got the job done and gets the kill onto Sssum, where he isn't able to play the game. Only a mere slow and a W connects while Sssum has teammates around. But it doesn't matter because you don't have anything to get away as that immobile ADC, as we also see IG completes his Baron with only 2 people as the rest zones everyone off, and Leyan getting locked down by YSKM. I mean, you just can't jump away.
Yeah, YSKM looking for more once again. And this IG squad, they have been so much fun to watch all split long. And I feel like a more complete team now than they have been all split. I feel like they are growing as a squad. Perhaps this loss streak that they've been on has been the lessons that they needed to become a team that could be a contender when we come around to playoffs. The team fighting from this squad is just immaculate.
Yeah, it's looking very, very clean from the IG squad for this specific series. But I also want to give credit to YSKM. He did get a little bit of help from Sssum, as we saw that he was playing extremely disciplined in the laning phase, where in particular he did get help for his lane management. And we see the, I guess, advice coming through in the second game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get coaching from a top laner in LPL, I'd say Sssum. Definitely one of the best, certainly at his peak back on JDG. I feel like a long time ago now, doesn't it? 369 taking his place, his old rival.
3 years. Oh no.
I know. But the Drake coming up, and actually should be able to take this one for free. And honestly, once again, it feels like this might just be done and dusted. It's an 8,000, 7,000 goal lead in favor of IG. They've got the Baron, they've got 3 Drakes. Slowly but surely, they might just mop this one up.
Yeah, I've been saying, Munch, you can't win a straight-up 5v5 when you're dealing with something like the Poppy and Galio as the front line. Sssum, he barely dodged it. That was just another death right in front of him. But Alright, had to play towards Cube. He is so incredibly fed on Gwen, but it doesn't matter. Gideon is just bopping him away every single team fight. The main carry is just gone, as everyone else falls as a result as well.
I love the itemization from Gideon here as well, just saying, look, I ain't doing damage, but I'm going to make sure that my team is doing damage, okay? Setting up for the rest of the squad, not worried about survivability, because he's got the Galio there. You know, he's got other tools in the team composition to keep him alive. He can, well, he's also got Warmogs now, so I'm not sure he's too worried about survivability. But setting up for Arn to do that burst damage, for YSKM to just one-shot Sssum every single fight.
I have a feeling, Munch, YSKM bought that G8, is currently online. He's going to full send it. He's going to go 1-for-1 trade, but he has a second life. I'm assuming onto Sssum, and as he is not having the best game for this game too.
I mean, honestly, he can literally pick any target. Any single person on RA at this point, I'm pretty sure he can one-shot. The only bad target is Cube, perhaps. A, because maybe Cube can actually 1v1 him, but B, because this is Zhonya's, so he can just outlast the Hextech Ultimatum. But pretty much anyone else, the Hextech Ultimatum comes in, and it's going to be a bad time.
You see the cracks of lethality Varus, as you are slightly behind in gold and items, and also just the amount of health. Slightly, I keep underplaying a lot of gold. We also do see how beefy IG's team composition is looking. I mean, a Zhonya's and a Warmogs in the mid jungle duo of IG. You really needed something like the on hit, because LeBlanc is struggling to do any damage as Wing gets caught.
Yeah, bit of a blunder from Wing there. I'm not entirely sure why. He was trying to push mid alone. Does get picked off. Not the end of the world, but will slow IG down a little bit here as well.
Oh, YSKM's going for it.
He just jumps in. Nothing will slow this squad down. Sure, you got a pick, but he's the least important member. Let's be honest, this is a Heimerdinger. As YSKM is just annihilating everybody. On the back line as well. Just dishing out that consistent DPS. Trying to escape, but he will not. No one can escape. As they're flashed upon and taken down, a double-double for the carries of IG. RA thought they had a pick, and they were wrong.
IG loses their support, however, they still come out on top, as YSKM on his Camille is just an absolute monster, having Cho'Gath ultimates on a 4-second cooldown. The second game in the hands of IG. They win their first series across 5. Finally, they're back on their feet.
Now, what a series to win, to kind of bring yourself back into contention, right? Like you said, they've been on a 4-loss streak, and up against RA, a team only just behind them in the standings, a team that on paper has this massive potential in the roster, but fumbling once again, and IG looking dominant. YSKM especially, I think, an absolutely incredible game. Despite how far behind he fell in the laning phase, still able to have such a gargantuan impact in these fights.
Yeah, YSKM and On, I think On